So you said there's many points of agreement with Iran right now. What can you give us a
many, like 15 points. 15 points. Well, they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. That's number one. That's number 1, 2, and 3. They will never have a nuclear weapon. They've agreed to that.
But what deal are they talking about here? The contours of any kind of agreement still remain unclear. As you heard, Trump maintains that Iran has agreed not to build a nuclear weapon. Tehran has always denied wanting one. The other issue could be zero uranium enrichment. Trump has also said that Iran must give up its enriched uranium stockpile. Iran has repeatedly rejected the idea of zero enrichment.
We're looking for all of the things that we've been talking about. We want to see no nuclear bomb, no nuclear weapon, not even close to it, low key on the missiles. We want to see peace in the Middle East. We want the nuclear dust. We're going to want that. And I think we're going to get that. We've agreed to that. Yeah, we've agreed to that.
You want the enriched uranium before you can end this.
And we want no enrichment, but we also want the enriched uranium.
Iran has already outlined its conditions to stop the war. These 6 core conditions include a new legal framework governing traffic in the Strait of Hormuz and closure of all American military bases in that region. Iran has also said that they want guarantees against further aggression by US and Israel, payment of reparations for damages caused during the conflict, prosecution and extradition of individuals associated with anti-Iran media in the West, and a halt to military operations across all fronts, including against its regional allies like Hezbollah. Meanwhile, the big question right now is, where does Israel stand? Will it accept a US-Iran deal? For now, Israel says it will keep striking targets. And here's the ground situation. Strikes were reported at energy facilities in Iranian cities of Isfahan and Khorramshahr. It's not clear who carried out these strikes. And the latest, Trump has announced a 5-day suspension of strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure. But he has warned, if talks fail, strikes could resume. The same day that window closes, more US troops are expected to arrive in West Asia. Amphibious assault ship USS Tripoli, amphibious landing dock USS New Orleans, and roughly 2,200 Marines will cross into US Central Command on Friday. It will take another few days for the unit to get to the Strait of Hormuz.
Biri abiri mukaaga guno, biri abiri musanvu. Emisolo mujja jiwulira. Gigenda kubeera waggulu.
Taxes are going to be so high.
Uganda is so much indebted. Taxes will be so high.
Solo jijja kuba waggulu.
Yeah. Kansabe namwe abakuze enviiri tebabacharginga nnyo okuza enviiri n'ebirevu. Kansabe because many areas are going to be taxed.
Bitundu bingi bigenda teekebwako.
Taxes are going to be high.
Solo jigenda kuba waggulu nnyo.
To pay debts.
Kusasula amabanja.
Yeah, n'okusasula ebyo babadde bakozesa. But what is key? Taxes
emisolo
are going to be high.
Jigenda kuba waggulu.
Going to be high.
Jigenda kuba waggulu.
But of course it is your duty to pay tax as a citizen.
Ayera mulimu w'omusolo ng'omutuuze.
According to Article 9.
Sinzira
up to 14. Those articles as citizens.
Tundu obo nga abatuuze.
It is your duty to pay taxes.
Mulimu gwo okuwa omusolo.
So
when those things come, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised.
Except to go focused.
Just be focused on your work, your job. Work and pay what you are capable of paying.
Buy sugar for their families. Buy sugar for their families. Share a drink with friends or plan for land to build a future. But proposed tax changes in the financial year 2026-2027 could push up the price of these daily essentials. Under the proposals, excise duty on petrol and diesel would each rise by 200 shillings per litre. The current pump prices averages 5,300 shillings for petrol and 4,800 shillings for diesel per litre. The proposal projects this fuel levy alone could generate 450 billion shillings for government coffers, but at what cost to the average Ugandan?
Some of the proposals, maybe they are rushed, and some of them, maybe they are not well researched. For example, if you propose to reintroduce that increment on fuel at the time when you have global challenges in fuel supply, of course that will tremendously affect the pump prices.
There is a war running in Iran where 20% of the global oil has already escalated the prices from 4,800 to today. I on the pump price it was 5,300. Already 500 shillings has been added on the fuel in less than 20 days. Before you know it, there will be an escalation of the dollar. Probably another money will be added. Before you know it, you've added a tax, an extra tax of 200. Oh my God. Before you know it, this tax on fuel is going to escalate the entire, the multiplier effect fuel has.
But according to the government, the impact on the economy will be minimal as the state does not expect fuel prices to increase beyond the increase in tax. Sugar faces a sharp excise duty jump from 100 shillings per kilogram to 300 shillings per kilogram, with retail sugar currently around 4,900 shillings to 6,000 shillings per kilogram. This could mean higher prices for tea, porridge and baked goods that many families rely on.
And of course, we are in a free market economy, so the government can't regulate that this will be, the pump price for fuel and this will be the shop gate price for sugar. It is an easy target because this is where most of us consume these daily items. So when government taxes that, normally every increase in the tax on sugar has a slight implication when it comes to demand.
Out of a broader plan to raise over 2.3 trillion shillings in additional revenue.
So for what it means for an ordinary person, of course the Askaris will have more money, so they'll decide what they use the money for. Either they'll invest more in their daily needs at home, or they'll end up saving more money for those guys having less salaries. Then for the guys having more money at the upper side, of course you realize that you may end up giving more to the government than what you have been actually giving. And for that, the implication is that you'll have a bigger tax burden.
Government argues they target wealthier segments and environmental goals, but critics worry about the burden on low and middle income families already dealing with.
Our expectation that they will come before Parliament, most likely next week, because according to the schedule of the Speaker, we are supposed to go through tax bills next week.
It remains to be seen if the tax proposals will be accepted by Parliament and adopted by the finance ministry. Daniel Kibet, NTV.
Whenever we talk about this power that brings us together, the devil, he has to fight. And now this is it. When I was just in my prayer room, a voice came, and even when I reached here, it came 2 times. But this is what the voice was.
Still there, I thought maybe it was my thoughts, but when I reached here, I saw it the more. So I was like, this is not my thoughts. These aren't my thoughts. Most of the times, though I'm educated enough, whenever I'm into godly things, I put my knowledge aside.
Don't clap. You don't need.
Whenever I'm into godly things, whenever you hear me talking about God stuff, just get to know that I put my knowledge into somewhere, into a basket somewhere.
wanaabanvuga abeera mulala.
So someone who drives me here is someone else.
Naye essaawa gye twakolereko FM International Church eriwa? Essaawa eyo eriwa by the way? Where is that watch with the FM International Church logo? Where is it? Inside. Do people sit from there? Where is it supposed to be? Wonderful. But the Spirit always tells me, when I descend, you are no longer the driver. You are just a vessel. Now this other voice came, but this is what he was saying. I'm still holding people's victory because it comes from my own mind. Jesus told his disciples, do you want to leave me? Do you want to leave me? Can you go so that I can remain alone? It's only Peter who said, where should we go? Because you have the words of eternal life. Then he said, it's not by flesh, but by the Spirit that you speak the things. But this voice comes quite often. And I'm observing it. That God is still holding something. Because the receiver has not yet developed the faithful part. And here in this ministry, this next quarter, I'm going to begin declaring fasting only for people who have food at home, who have drinks at home, who can buy food. Those who cannot buy food are going to be eliminated from this fasting. If you can buy food, is in the house, come do the fasting. After fasting, go and eat. You can't buy food. You can't care for the family. You can't help others near you. The fasting is useless. These are the commands I'm receiving. And for God's glory, ngenda kukiteeka mu kwota eziddako kubanga ebintu ebisinga n'ebintu ebimu tebyetaaga nnyo ssaala, byetaaga kukola, byetaaga kuteekako mukono, tekyetaagisa nnyo ssaala. Mbabazi, weetaaga essaala okutuula w'otuulaawo. Just need to sit. Naye ng'okkiriza Katonda yakuwadde obulamu obukola ki? N'obulokola obusinga ekintu kitawaanyizza ne kireetedde abantu okugwa. Katonda bw'atakola kirungi taba Katonda. Therefore nja muvaako. Noonye Katonda. Mukama mwebaza. Yanzimbidde amaka. Mwebaza. Yabukesezza ndi mulamu. Mwebaza yampadde omulimu. Yampadde ezzadde. Wonderful. Can you go to the other side? Takuwadde ennyumba. Takuwadde omwana. Omwami akukubye. Ofunye accident. Omwana wo afudde. Ettaka bali omulogo akuli bubi. Weetaaga okwebaza Katonda. Is somebody getting me? Quite often, we are so much geared towards the good side God has done. And I'm telling you, certain things are not done even by God. It is even the devil who quickens what you have asked for so that you can fall very fast. Not everything that the glory goes back to God. As much as we attach it to Him, certain things are quickened by the devil, enable some people fall. Because He knows the moment one receives ABCD, he will get off from the grace. The devil does it. That's
why whenever you receive something good, then it takes over you, takes control over you and takes out, diverts you from God. Then guess no, that wasn't God who gave it to you. The person you look at here,
please mark this very clearly. Buli gwolaba nga afunye amaka, buli gwolaba nga afunye obugagga, buli gwolaba nga afunye ssente, buli gwolaba nga afunye omulimu, ne yeesamba Katonda eyamugumuwa, tabadde Katonda. Waliwo akanziriramu mu Luganda olulungi. Mine seems to be ramshackled. Can you repeat it in the good English, good Luganda?
Doctor tugambye buli muntu gwendaba nga Katonda alina kyamuwadde kirungi ekikwatikako oba n'omulala kyasobola okwegomba oba kyembadde njayanira bulijjo naye n'amala akimpa ate n'endekera okubeera mu Katonda, kitegeeza tabadde Katonda.
That is one of the ways you can detect that it is not God who gave you that. Mark that. And it is the baseline. It is the basis upon which God is saying, ono kansooke mmulindizemu, ono kansooke nkwatiriremu, ono kansooke mmuleke, kubanga bwe naamugaziya tagenda kunywera, ate olunaamala okugwa agenda kunoonya amaanyi ge gamu naye nga takyalina contact point, nga takyalina ngeri gy'akomawo. Kambabulira abooluganda, ensobi ereeta ensonyi. Gamba kati naddayo ntya. Twabeeranga mu Katoliki nga tulina akayimba, seŋŋenda ntya eri Omukama nga sirina kye mutonedde, kamutondera ebyo bye nnina, ayi Mukama bikkirize. Mwekajjukira? In other words, emikono gyange ogibanga giri empty, Mukama naagenda ntya? How will I go? When I sold anything. God is so conscious about His children in the house. Because everything is with us. Brothers and sisters, let me tell you. Unless you don't have a focus, unless you don't know where you want to go, but whichever you need from God, you already have. The devil is fighting, but the grace of God is available. The grace you are a great target in the anointing of the devil. If you are not serious, this year you will not stand. You will backslide. You will fall.
Ab'ekitongole ekikwasa amateeka mu kibuga Kampala ekyagezesa enforcement bongedde okukola ekikwekweto ku nguudo ez'enjawulo okufuuza abatembeeyi n'abasuubuzi abakyagenda mu maaso n'okweyiyiza ku nguudo ezo.
Buli muntu yenna anoonya Katonda wabeera ng'asibiddwa mu mbeera. Mu kikwekweto ekikoleddwa enkya ya leero n'ababuulizi b'enjiri tebabataliza.
Elephants. There was a buffalo. There is also this other animal which is called what is omusege? This other the wolf. The wolf was moving to eat the dead animals, but I stood in between and the wolf did eat. The Spirit told me, very many big people whom here in religions, whom here in our faith, whom here in government, this is their last year. I would mention 3 names. But for the glory of spiritual maturity and prophecy, I reserve the names. I talked to them in the spirit. They were not responding. But they were like lions. But a dead lion. In the Catholic faith, by the grace of God, I don't speak the names. Too many in the government were just dying like insects. Prophetic burden.
We are getting information from Israeli sources that the Ayatollah is dead. This is breaking news again coming from Israeli sources that the Ayatollah, the supreme leader of Iran, is dead. Again, we're going to go to Jeremy Diamond. Jeremy, the strikes coming this morning that were targeting senior leadership. That's what we knew. Targeting senior leadership there in Iran. And now we can say from Israeli sources that the Ayatollah of Iran, the supreme leader, is dead. What more are you learning there in Israel?
That's right, Jessica. 2 Israeli sources telling me and my colleague Tal Shalev that Israel has confirmed that the supreme leader of Iran, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has been killed as a result of those Israeli strikes that took place earlier today. One of these sources saying that Israel actually has photographic evidence of Khamenei showing his dead body. The second source told me that an official announcement is in the works, although it is possible that the Israelis will allow President Trump and the United States to make this announcement officially. But this is enormous breaking news here that the Israeli government is confirming that the supreme leader of Iran was killed in Israeli strikes earlier today. This is a day that many Israeli government officials have hoped would come eventually. It is also, we should note, a day that many Iranian dissidents, Iranian protesters had hoped would eventually come. And indeed, it has come now. And it is an earth-shattering moment for the Middle East and for the future of Iran. We should note, however, that the supreme leader's death is not necessarily indicative of the Iran regime collapsing altogether. This regime is not based off of one person alone. It is a system that is multi-layered, and we know that the supreme leader understood very well that he could potentially be targeted for assassination should the United States and Israel choose to carry out massive strikes on Iran as they did today. And in recent weeks and months, he has been preparing for potential lines of succession should that actually take place. Now, we are still waiting, of course, for any confirmation from the United States as well as to the supreme leader having been killed. But 2 Israeli sources familiar with the matter telling us now that the supreme leader was killed in Israeli strikes today. One last note on this is that we have also been hearing about the division of labor between the United States and Israel as it pertains to these strikes. U.S. officials have been very clear that their strikes have been focused on military targets and that the strikes targeting senior Iranian leaders, such as the supreme leader, were being conducted by Israel and not by the United States. Ultimately, that may very well be a distinction without a difference, given the high level of coordination between the United States and Israel in preparing and carrying out these strikes. But this is obviously an enormous moment in the Middle East, something that we anticipated could potentially be a target of any Israeli or U.S. strikes on Iran. And indeed, now not only a target, but confirmed by Israeli sources that the supreme leader of Iran is dead.
Indeed, big news out of the Middle East, the potential to reshape so many dynamics there. But again, as Jeremy notes, not a straight line to regime change. This is a piece of it, but it is a big piece of it. This is enormous news. Jeremy, I want you to stand by because we have seen the missiles that have been coming to Israel throughout the day. So stay with us. I do want to bring Jim Sciutto back in. Jim, this is very big news. And again, Jeremy, it is, and so help people understand, contextualize for them that what this means, that Iran's supreme leader has been killed in these strikes by the U.S. and Israel.
these strikes are now officially decapitation strikes, right? Strikes that were intended via Israeli military action, to be clear, to take out Iran's most senior leadership. And the man you see there, Ali Khamenei, is Iran's most senior leader with enormous, certainly political power in that country, but also religious authority in that country. The structure of Iranian government being that, yes, it has a president elected, but the supreme leader lies at the top of the government. And that is that man you see speaking there, which Israeli sources are now telling CNN was killed in these strikes. Again, to my point, Jessica, prior to this morning, there'd been an enormous amount of the U.S. was willing to go, but Israel as well, if they were striking together. And now we know they were willing to go as far as taking out Iran's most senior leader. Now, we had reported earlier that he was not the only target of these strikes, that other senior military and other leaders in Iran were targeted. We don't know their status at this point, but as we reported earlier in the day, Israeli officials were becoming more confident over time today that they had hit at least some of their targets. Listen, in Iran, does that mean that suddenly there will be a new government, a new leader, one friendlier to the U.S.? No, an enormous network and structure of leadership and power, the supreme leader of Iran, and the answer is yes, and they had success doing so.
Right, and now the big question is what...
Success doing so.
Right, and now the big question is what comes next. Jim Sciutto, stand by.